This is just getting interesting by the day with the Philadelphia Eagles, because if you look at the defense, the gaping holes on defense, pause on two positions, are your linebacker position, your safety position, and what the Eagles could do at both of those positions. Rumored to be that they could go after both positions. Now, I don't know if they're going to throw the bag at two guys for two different positions, but they're definitely going to do something pretty crazy. And I feel like there are some high tier players. Could they go after more of a safety than a linebacker, giving the bag to somebody, or maybe get some mid tier players to fill in, depending on the opposite of what they don't hire to big money? We're going to talk about Vic Fangio, the defense, two coaches that he is in the pretty much he is in the process of hiring right now that he's been successful with, which I think you're really going to like. And a certain coach is coming back to the NFC East that I don't think we're all going to like, that we're going to have to see twice a year. And let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves, because it's still the early process. The Eagles haven't touched their own roster yet. The Eagles haven't freed up any cap space, but a lot is going on, and I feel like there is a plan in motion when it comes to free agency and obviously what they're going to be doing in the draft. The draft is a total question mark, but I hope free agency will most likely tell us kind of what they're kind of going for. We'll see some of the holes that are there at certain positions. But I think when it comes to the defense, yeah, we talked about linebacker free agency. We talked about how much that the Eagles have to change their philosophy, especially Howie Roseman has got to pertain himself to different positions, give more attention to some of those positions. And I feel like when you go into the safety position, yeah, it's a big gaping hole. It's a wide hole, pause. It is, because not only you just have Reed Blankenship, which I think Reed Blankenship is one of the hardest hitters on this team. I think Reed has earned a roster spot as a backup. I don't think he is going to be starting material going into next season. I think they're going to want to upgrade, and obviously, you know, we need guys that can cover. We need guys that can tackle, and obviously Reed could do that. He's more of a contact safety, in the box type safety. If Vic Fangio is good with that, or if he's well enough to take over in his scheme at the safety position. But when you go into free agency here, I mean, look, you have Sidney Brown that's out for probably till next October. That torn ACL is horrible. I think he's going to be a really nice hybrid player for us. We need hybrid guys on this team, because God forbid somebody goes down. You don't miss a beat by moving one guy to another. The backup comes up and does well for a few games, or is out for the season, whatever the case may be with that. So you always want to have those moving pieces, and unfortunately, we're not going to have Sidney Brown back for a while, okay? And it's unfortunate. So you're really empty. Justin Evans hurt his knee during the year. Justin Evans has been hurt his entire career. That's why he's been a free agent pretty much every single year. I think he was a second-round pick with the Tampa Bay Bucks in 2017. So a lot of guys just can't stay healthy. And yes, Eagles haven't really had a consistent secondary probably more than 2 weeks. I mean, honest, I feel like every week we've been switching guys around all the time. I think when you go into safety, not only linebacker, you get big free agents, but I feel like they could make two moves, or they make a mid-tier move at linebacker. And what if they went out and got Antoine Winfield Jr.? I think we've talked about him multiple amounts of times, where, he's coming out of a, not a bad year, but pretty solid year for him, and a solid career so far. And I feel like this could be a really big change with our defense. Even having him here is a great tackler. Guy can cover. Guy is fantastic, okay? I think his resume speaks for itself. I think he fits in the Vic Fangio scheme really well. And, like I said, this is top of the crop, base money. You want to put it all on him, then go ahead, go do it, if that's what you want to do. Or, you want to kind of switch it up a little bit and say, hey, we know a lot more about Xavier McKinney. He's in the division. Maybe the coaching staff feels like they can use him better depending on what they want. Obviously the Giants not a fantastic defense, but Martindale's been very aggressive, because he has aggressive old school style defense, and Xavier McKinney kind of fits the map with that style of defense. But how he would look in a Vic Fangio scheme would be really interesting. And I think that would be another type of high tier move that they could make if that's what they want to do. Is he going to be more expensive than Antoine Winfield? I don't know. Maybe it really depends who gets paid first in the league. That's what kind of happens where one safety will get paid this much money, another guy that's a free agent will be like, "Oh, I want what he gets. I want to see how much I can get. If he can get that, then I'm going to ask for that." So it really depends on the market, how it's going, and if the numbers are going to keep going up or it's going to be at a standstill. And I was obviously Xavier McKinney would fit the mold here really well, and I've always kind of didn't mind him being here. I thought the Giants got a good player there, and a great run support, could tackle, is fantastic. So I think he would fit the mold. Or would you rather go after someone that really I look. I know people are going to be like, dude, really? Yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, I never wanted him to leave. If you signed Chauncey last year, James Bradbury wouldn't have the contract that he has right now, which James Bradbury is definitely gone. You extend him, you cut him, you eat up a few million of cap for a few years. Who cares? It's single digit dead cap. Who gives a crap about that? Okay. But Detroit is going to have to put in a lot of money into some of their players. They're going to have to lock up some guys. I don't think Chauncey is in the mix as in their future plans. Plus, he can't be that expensive either because he had a torn pectoral this year, whatever it was, and he missed a lot of time. Whatever happened, I understand he talked crap about Eagle fans. I understand that, but Eagle fans pissed him off. Let's just be real, because when a player leaves, he has a choice between the Eagles and other teams. He chooses Detroit over the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And he wanted to get paid as a safety. The Detroit Lions wouldn't pay him as a safety. No team wanted to pay him as a safety that played safety for 1 year. Really, because he's been a cornerback mostly, how the Saints have used him, and then he wanted to change positions, and the Eagles granted that to him, and he played phenomenally well. Whether this was a backloaded contract from Howie Roseman, apparently it was like a 3-year, $22 million deal, and apparently the first couple of years were a couple mil each, and then like the last year of his contract, he probably wouldn't have seen any of that money. It was a backloaded contract where he would have got more money, the most money, into his last year of his deal. So I don't know what happened between the contract talks, what happened between him and Howie Roseman, but it just didn't go well. And not like Chauncey didn't hire the most smart, agent that he had, because it didn't even give him a better deal on a one-year deal. And I feel like Detroit has got to start locking guys up a little bit. You know what I mean? They have to start locking up a few guys, and they're going to have to start building now. Ben Johnson's there for another year to call plays, so they have another chance at winning a championship. And I don't know if Chauncey is there in their future plans, and if he's looking for a lot of money, he's not going to get it. He needs to be realistic within himself as a player. Could he come back to the Philadelphia Eagles in this new scheme? And trust me, I miss Chauncey's swag. I just miss his attitude, and I think a lot of players in that defense kind of like eat off of that. You know what I mean? I think they really take it into consideration of what Chauncey brings to the team. And I know he still talks to a lot of players on the Eagles still, and he talks the talk and he does what he needs to do. But this would be a good one for us. I think there should be somewhat of a safety competition. If they bring in more guys, you'll obviously have more guys, if they draft somebody, or if this is the role they're going to go and say, hey, they don't pay anybody at safety, but they bring in guys that have been here before and have been successful. Not the same scheme per se. It is somewhat the same scheme, but you're getting the best guy for the Vic Fangio scheme. Is Vic Fangio. This is the best scheme. So interesting enough, we'll see what happens. And sorry, I was a video that some plane video that I was watching earlier. I don't know why it started playing. But I think this would make a lot of sense. But does it really make sense? Is there a burn bridge between Chauncey and the Eagles front office? You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be interesting. If he doesn't sign here, or at least if there's no talks, and I feel like there's a lot more behind the scenes that happened than we figured. I don't think a lot happened. I think Chauncey was waiting too long, and the Eagles had to kind of move and say, look, Chauncey, we'll sign you, but you got to make up your mind. I think he was kind of trembling too much, and I think Howie just backed out of it and just started. He had to keep going. I mean, look, everybody's on the clock on the start of free agency on that first day. So, I mean, would absolutely love it. Okay, because I know he would be productive here. Yes, he's got to stay healthy because that injury last year, it's a pectoral. It's not an ACL. It's not it's nothing crazy. It's not an Achilles injury. So pectorals are pectorals. But I know he would be ready if he was to come back to Philadelphia, and I would be so excited, so pumped, and I hope he actually does. That'd be really great. Now, coming to the Vic Fangio tree of coaching. Obviously Nick Sirianni is not having any control when it comes to defensive coaches bringing in. And it looks like, Joe Casper has been one guy that's been successful with the Philadelphia Eagles as a defensive quality control guy in 2021. And he was a safety coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it looks like that the Philadelphia Eagles have put in a request slip to interview Dolphins safeties coach Joe Casper for the same role. Casper's a young rising coach who came over from Philly to Miami last year, Vic Fangio. Now the Eagles DC values Casper. Like I said, he's bringing in not just the guys that he's been successful with, but he's bringing in the one word I've been saying. Who are they? The type of coaches they're hiring. Experience, experience, experience. And yeah, I felt like, with Denard Wilson here, and I feel like we did a really good job that year with the coaches that we had, even at safety too. Chauncey had his best year, his first year as a safety. You know what I mean? So Joe Casper, highly recommended by Vic. And I don't know if, he's only been there a year, so I don't know if the Miami Dolphins could block him from not talking to us at this point. Not really sure about that. When it comes to positional coaches, I don't know if it's the same as offensive coordinators where after 1 year they could block them, and then 2 years they have to let them talk to other teams. You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure how that whole process goes when it comes to hiring. But obviously, Joe Casper was recommended if Vic Fangio wants him on the staff. And he's not even the only one, so we'll see what happens with this down the future. He's not even the only one, but Ronaldo Hill is another one. We talked about him a week or two ago. Since we don't have the other, DB coach that was coming from Seattle, he went back to Seattle. We might be seeing Ronaldo Hill. That was part of Vic Fangio's staff as a defensive backs coach when Fangio was a defensive coordinator with the Bears, where they had really good corners. They had, one of the best pass rushes, great secondary, did a fantastic job. Ronaldo Hill left the Bears after 2 years, went to the Chargers as a DC for a couple years, and then was brought to Miami last year as the DB's coach once again. Vic Fangio just keeps surrounding himself with the guys that he's been successful with, and this guy has been through the mill. And I like the guys that they're getting since their experience. They've already been positional coaches. They've already been defensive coordinators. So you can have some of these guys long term. That's the great thing about guys that, have experience. Most of these guys have pretty much been through the defensive coaching tree. They've been through defensive coordinator, but they rather just start working with guys that they're related to be successful in a defense. And Vic Fangio still wants to surround himself with the best talent possible on the coaching staff. Ronaldo Hill, don't be surprised if this name is going to pop up again. Past success is going to lead to, big coaching signings or guys that work together really well. Yes, it's friendly, but as for a business succeeding football team standpoint, it's 100% like right in the open. And I think this is what you have to go for. So I think this will be next on our list when it comes to the DB coach. And you know what? I thought they did a fantastic job. No, you don't have a Jalen Ramsey or an Xavier Howard on this team. As much as I think Slay's not going to leave, Bradbury definitely needs to be moved, and they need to go draft a corner very high, even if the 22nd pick, whatever they have to use, or trade for a corner. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it should be really interesting what happens with the DB coach position. And, Fangio is still surrounding himself. So it's really good news. Now, this is news that probably a lot of people are not going to be happy with or be surprised. I don't know. But it looks like Chip Kelly is trying to make a comeback into the NFL, not only in the NFL, but within the NFC East, where he might be joining Dan Quinn as a new head coach to the Washington Commanders as the OC. Just imagine we have to face Chip Kelly and not be, embarrassed to lose by him, okay? After he left in 2015, okay, going into 2016, okay, he was the 49ers head coach, if you guys remember. And he was supposed to be coming back to Philadelphia. That's why they made the schedule the way they did. The 49ers were coming to Philadelphia. Chip Kelly was supposed to be there. But before that even happened, I don't even know how many games he lasted in 2016 because he got fired very early in the season. So we didn't get a chance to even face him. And if he comes to Philly twice, comes to Philly once a year, I don't know how people are going to react. But you know what I mean? I don't like it. I can't believe like people are considering him. I guess without all the control and the dictatorship, I guess he's somewhat of a good offensive coordinator. I don't know what he's done at UCLA. I haven't really watched them at all, so I'm not really sure. But it could be a possibility. Now they're just going to talk to him. The commanders are going to talk to him. Nothing's been kind of set in stone yet. I think there's still, there's still a lot of moving pieces involved. The defense, I think, is already set. Dan Quinn is already taking a couple assistants from Dallas. I mean, he's taking everybody with him, so we know Washington's defense will probably be a nice powerhouse. But when it comes to the offense, we'll see what happens, and a coordinator is definitely going to have to get hired before they start making moves. So Chip Kelly coming back, it could happen. And you know what? The Eagles might have not won a Super Bowl if they didn't fire him. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. Got rid of our favorite players back in the day, and we kind of resented that, and then it got us to our first ever championship in 2017, which is kind of nuts. So a long story there, and nothing's final yet, but some things are coming around right now. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Safety free agents. Who would you sign? Would you rather sign a big-time linebacker and some mid-tier, free agent, maybe a mid-tier free agent safety? I feel like they have to fill in both sides. I don't think you can go completely for the draft when it comes to safety. Yes, you could draft a safety high, but they have to, I think they still have to dip into free agency twice. I think they have to go for either they're going to pay the bag to a linebacker or pay the bag to a safety. And whichever one they're going to do it, it's one of those positions. And then the other position, they're going to have to sign a mid-tier guy, which they're going to have to. And then the draft is where we'll see which one they didn't really pay the most money. They have a great player on it from one of those positions that's paid a lot of money that they went all in on. We know that they're going to get that position in the draft. So let me know what you guys think. Even Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming back. What do you think about Ronaldo Hill, Joe Casper coming as the safety and the cornerback coach? Vic Fangio bringing his own guys still that have been successful with him everywhere he goes. And Chip Kelly coming back, man. How about that? Good for him. Good for him. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shake some up, follow us up. Peace out, guys. Peace.